There's about 14 of us or 15 of us in the meeting. But welcome. Some are still joining us. Welcome, and we can start. Rina is not available today. I'm not sure. Sorry, if she'll be able to join us, but she's traveling. Unfortunately, she may not be able to join us, but we are here. As we said last week, we are going to continue on the lesson for today because we didn't get to do it. I think this is probably the right one. Right. Okay, shall we start? All right, we are going to look at what we call, it's part of real estate practice. We're going to look at office administration, or what it means to run the administration in a real estate company. One of the things that we are looking at ultimately is that as an estate agent, one day, and I think particularly as the vision of this institution, the BMI, we are in the business of raising entrepreneurs. So it's not so much about employees, and I think you'll agree with me that a real estate agent is a person who's supposed to be able to manage themselves. They are a business in their own right. They are not the pay as you earn type. They are the ones who they pay a different type of tax. So it's about the use like a business basically. So you come and become part of a real estate company or an estate agency. Once you're part of the estate agency, ultimately the goal is that as you grow, you'll also be able to run your own estate agency. And that's what we are looking at, that while you are there, know and understand how to navigate the administration within a real estate agency. Number two, when you are supposed to now run and be a qualified real estate agent who is now can become a principal, you are able to now run your own estate agency, either as a franchise or a whole new name of your own. Some of you here are developers primarily, and ultimately you will be opening your own estate agency to be able to manage specifically maybe your own, primarily your own development, and then you look at outside your own stock, you look at what else for other people would you be managing. So that's what we are focusing on tonight. I hope I can be able to cover all of it. We should be able to cover most of it. General administration. As soon as the business comes into operation, paperwork is created. The paperwork is the administrative records of the company, and the administration is the integral part of the organization's quality management system. So how you manage that paperwork matters. Without proper administrative controls and record keeping, any business or operational area within a business will soon suffer. Just allow me to just do F5. Right. We have what we call administrative quality management. To put the need for administrative records into context, it is best to look at what we call QMS, quality management system of any business. These are some of the things to note. All quality management systems have three broadly defined areas. We have a strategic, we have the strategic level, which is the policy statement, which clearly states the organizational position towards an ETD practice, and where required, state a clear inclusion and exclusion of expected practice. We have the operational level, the processes that show how the policy statement will be implemented, and normally includes by who. We have the admin, which is practically the day supporting documents to be used in the process of implementing, whether it is marketing, media, buyer's profile, offer to purchase, code of conduct, information brochure, the administration forms, the heart of the quality management system. Sorry, that drives and protects the business. Sorry about that. We'll look at the electronic administration management. Most companies have a server that manages information on the shared drive. That means all people in the department or organization have access to the same documents at once. However convenient this may be, it also has a potential to become a deep dark hole where valuable information disappears into if it's not managed properly. So a central server could just people throwing in without managing where the document goes or managing the folders. It can be a nightmare. One of my previous employment, we had a shared drive, and there was a lady who used to manage that. Believe me, she would give you a nightmare if you save things, you don't save them properly. So it can be quite a challenge to manage if people don't know how to save properly and be consistent and have a proper structure. A shared drive, if we look at it, it's structured in such a way as to reflect the overall purpose, the role, the functions of the real estate business. Structure and management must contribute to effective, efficient access to documents and resources relating to the operational department. Is access controlled but accessible to all members who contribute to the department's operations, but not the whole of the company for security and confidentiality reasons. For instance, certain documents like your HR documents may not necessarily be accessed by everybody. Otherwise, people will begin to know everyone's salary, and it's not one of those. In HR, there's also issues of disciplinary things. So you can't have all documents accessed by everyone. You need to have measures of who can access what at what. Finance documents also, not all finance documents can be open to everyone, even junior employees or even outside people. So you need to have measures of who, according to that level, strategic level, which would be management, operational level, which is your tactical managers, and then you have the admin level, which is a lower level, who's able to access what documents at what level. So that matters. So these are the different ways that you can put your documentation or structure your shared drive in terms of your folders. All documents and folders to be within acceptable shared drive grid of maximum 10 levels down and 4 levels across. So 10 level down, it will be your folders, and 4 levels across, it will be how deep does it go. So that's the suggested grid that you can be able to use. An example of that, of how it could be implemented, is level 1 real estate business management. You have client management at this level. Level 2 HR management, you'll have you have your estate agents, which will deal with your residential property sectional title. You have the names, individuals, and then the document register, signed contract, letter of appointment, application, and CV, more or less like this. So the structure needs to almost represent how the company is structured, so that it's easier to know. When you're in HR, you can be able to drill deeper into different documents that are within HR. If you are looking at the main real estate, you'll be able to go deeper into the different documents that relates to that, your offer to purchase and all those things. And then we come to the document and regulations. For instance, there are things that are supposed to be aligned to the regulations that needs to be there and kept up to date. You will need to put them accordingly. The correct maintenance of the shared drive is the responsibility of all staff. Conformance to shared drive requirements ensures ensured by the principal agent or owner of the office manager. Non-conformance are addressed monthly as a quality item as at staff meeting. Change requests to master structure of the shared drive to be approved by the manager. This is important so that you don't have things changing every time without proper protocol or without proper approval. Learner's notes, review of the shared drives. A review of the shared drive structure should be every 6 months, and it's usually driven by a person appointed by the manager, which is the most likely the office administrator. That will be the person responsible for that shared drive, and to ensure that where there are anomalies, where documents are saved incorrectly, he or she can be able to move those documents and put them in the appropriate places. Server levels. Based on the above, the administration server of the business should be broken up into 3 levels. Like I said earlier, your strategic level includes the policies, your operational level directly related to the policy or the implementation thereof, administrative level related to policy and operations. Each level has a series of procedures related to the level, which is broken into major levels. We have your master and masters, we have operations. All master forms or reports tools will be at this level at the masters. Operations, implementation of the particular area. So the masters are critical because those are more like they remain the same. The rest, it's more like duplicates of that. So if you have to make any changes, the master can't just be changed anyhow. That maintains that documents or templates are consistent. You don't find every document is different. That's why to maintain the masters is very critical. In order to create a meaningful administrative system that is effective in hard and electronic copy, it is critical to develop a QMS model first, or at least an administration plan. So again, it's about the combination. So mostly what I've seen is in real estate, physical documents still matter a lot. The files that needs to be kept because they have, remember, as an estate agent, we are highly regulated. The estate agency is highly regulated. The principal is regulated on how he's supposed to run the estate agency. So when the estate agency board comes, they need to be able to see all the documentation in place. So there has to be files that are created so that it's not something that is difficult for somebody to be able to find. When it comes to electronic documents and physical documents, there's an issue of a backup. Where do you keep your backup? Is there a storage room? How do you make sure that those documentations are protected very well? But it all begins by having a proper QMS model, which will be replicated, whether it's physical offices, physical files, or electronic, or both. At least the model is the same across. So the typical model for real estate offices may be structured to look as follows. Your office QMS would have business management, client management, and agent management. The real estate has a variety of documents around the following areas: mandate, contract, agreements, code of conduct, conveyor communication, documentation, human resource management, client support information, facility management, listings, profiling, marketing and advertising information, after sales service information, legislation, mortgage brokers information and communication, deeds office documentation and communication, etc. These are the different documentations that we have. Some will be related to the business directly. Some are client management documents. Some are related to the agents. So you manage the business itself. You manage the clients that we are selling to. Both the clients will be both those who are buying and also sellers. We also manage the agents, those who are going out there to buy, to be able to sell, go out there to get the mandates. This is how typically it's structured. This is the activity number 44. Based on the proposed admin QMS model above, identify possible subdivision that you would have under each area. So if you look at some of this, so you can be able to identify the subdivisions under management, under client management, and under agent management. Identify any other high-level area that may be required to complete the admin QMS model. Mentor discussion, admin systems. Your facilitator will lead a group discussion in your class. Answer the following questions. Who is at your workshop, at your workplace, is responsible for the maintenance of the administration system? Maybe let's look at that. Just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. How many of, I think last week, Dendi asked about people who have joined estate agencies from different places. I mean, we have people who have joined, some are at POMET, some are at different agencies, I think, across the country. So maybe if I can get a volunteer on what kind of a system is used at your estate agency and how structured is it? I know you are still an intern, but at least if you started interacting, you should already be knowing what's happening. Is there a designated person that is managing the QMS system? If I could get a hand or a volunteer, somebody that can share a bit of what is happening in their estate agency. Yaku.
Hi, Lefuna.
Hi. Which estate agency are you with?
I'm with Remax.
Yes. How are things structured there when it comes to document management or office or QMS?
Document management, we basically, well, we've got our structures that like, it's difficult to explain to you.
Do you have a space? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
We've got our administration lady that basically handle all our admin documents and the filing of the systems and all of that. We've got 2 branches, so you need to separate the stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling here to say in English what we're doing here.
You can share in Afrikaans. We'll get translators, I guess.
Okay. In short, we've got the administration lady that administer all our systems in the office.
Right.
And if there is like documents that comes from the estate agents, she will sort them. She will put them in the right files. She will make sure that the files go in the right place, because you've got the process that you need to follow now. You've got your documents sent to the attorneys, and those are kept separate from others, and so on and so forth. And then once the transaction is finalized, you will take that file out of this cabinet, put it in another one, to keep it safe there, and so forth. Yeah.
Right. So maybe just a quick question from my side. Part of your training, do they train you, or your orientation, do they give you an orientation of how their QMS works or how the administration works?
I think it's basically up to every broker owner how he would like to administer his office.
Right.
You must remember with Remax, we as broker owners, we own and run the office because it's our office, it's our business.
Right.
So they don't really tell you exactly how to do it, but there are certain requirements that you need to have in place because when it comes to your auditors at the end of the
Yes.
year,
Yes.
then you need to have all that systems in place. If
In
they are
place.
looking for a file exactly, then
Yeah.
you need to know exactly where to go look for certain stuff. So
Right.
yeah, you need to follow the basic requirements, yes, but they don't prescribe to you exactly how to do it. No.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Yaku, representing Remax. Anyone else with a different experience from a different agency? How is it done on your side? Who do we have? Let's see. Little Nolo.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Unfortunately, yes, unfortunately, I'm not yet placed with a real estate agent, so I'm not really aware.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
What's happening on that front? Where are you based?
I'm based in Johannesburg. I'm in discussion with a friend of mine, but we haven't really, consolidated or finalized our
Okay.
arrangement. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think it's something last week we were emphasizing on some of that. Thank you, Little or not. To say it's important that you get registered with an estate agency immediately so that you don't lose out on the time. The moment you get registered, you go to the EAB, the board. It counts how long you've been registered with the estate agency. So that time, actually, it's very essential that it also counts already to part of your credits. So, Litonolo, I urge you to finalize those discussions soon. When you need help, reach out to us. I'm sure we can be able to assist where possible.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen, and let's see if there's anyone who wants to add anything on this. Sorry. A tip: the golden rule with an electronic system is to keep it simple. The following serves as the simple tips of in establishing such a system. Try not to have more than 3 levels of folder before documents are reached. More than that creates a fragmented, cumbersome search for documents, and the possibility of misfiling increases drastically or dramatically. Create a standard informative naming convention for folders and documents that does not leave one guessing about the content of the folder or the document. So maybe in this, one of the things I've learned, I don't know whether and it's something maybe in my area because I'm more in the working with technical people. Technical people are very bad when it comes to documentation. So it's important to have that lady or that gentleman who administrate things, who will be able to even follow up when documents are not properly filed, who will be able to ensure that it drives these things. I've seen that if you leave it to everybody to just do it, they may not be able to do it right. Every time you'll find folders are created, but they're mostly empty or not up to date, or the naming convention has not been done right and all those things. So there's no consistency. So it's important when it comes to also search how you name your folders and your documents. It matters. Your version control. When you create a new document, has the version, you put a different version there to be able to make sure that things are consistent. Chunk the information logically. Use several chunking methods to create online file dividers. So basically, it's about dividing the files. I know people who've worked, a little older people who've worked in the old regime. Well, what am I saying, old regime? But who've worked in offices administratively. They are very good in handling some of those issues of filing and all that. So it's a matter of just bringing them up to date in terms of electronic because the system is actually the same. Use yes as high-level filing system. You may, for example, have folders named close Mondays 2006, close Mondays 2007, close Mondays 2008. Use dates as a method of versioning control and multiple folder identification. As an example, MENT 001, 25 June 2000 and, well, this one says 2006, 2021. May contain all relevant information and open house leads and other documents related to the mandate 001 that was conducted in 25 June 2006. As an example, under client management, you can create a folder per client which all his relevant personal information or contracts, etc., may be contained. So it's easier when you're talking about a specific client, you know all the information, it's in one folder, and move them accordingly, like Yaku was saying, that depending on the different stage of the transaction, you can move the folder accordingly. If it's a physical cabinet, you can move. When it comes at the stage of now transfer, you can move it to that. When it's closed, you move it to the right file cabinet to show that it has been transferred and all the payments have been done and everything has, literally the transaction has been closed accordingly. Okay. Okay. Hard copy office administration, a logical, streamlined, structured filing system in support of the electronic filing system. It's a critical and well-managed quality administrative system. Below, it's a sample of filing plan that is aligned to the electronic administrative plan. The system implies that every piece of paper, document in real estate office system has a home and can be found by anyone who has been trained in the use of the system. So again, I emphasize it's important to be trained on how the system is used. So whatever system you adopt, whoever are the users, it's important that you train them on how to be able to do that. Part in many companies, like what I was asking Yaku earlier, part of the orientation of any estate, any agent that comes in as a new person, you need to take them through your filing system. Given it will be different, of course, from one company to another, depending on what works best for you. As long as all documents are easy to find, you can access them easily whenever they are required. It's important. It should not be like I studied a little bit in India. I don't know. You go to an Indian pharmacy, you would see such disorder. But whenever you need something, that pharmacist would know where to find that pill. And you'll think, how on earth is he able to find the right pill in such a disorder? But to them, they know, they have a system, they know what sits where. And if a different person comes, they may not be able to know. So we want to create a system that is consistent across the board, not that it's known by one person. When they are gone, nobody else knows. That administrator is the only one who knows where is what. People, a lot of things can happen about an individual, but you want a system that is consistent, that you can teach others, and everybody can be able to use it without even a struggle. Here is an example, a sample of the filing plan that is aligned to the electronic administration plan. The system implies that every piece of paper or document in real estate office has a home, like I said. So you'll have your file one, it's labeled company information. File information in the file will be your CK document or CIPC document, your VAT registration, your SARS tax clearance, your company profile, company organogram, your FICA, for instance, and then your electronic folder all this, it will be under the business management because it's related to the business. Where is it stored electronically? Company information. So your FICA, for instance, will go under your compliance. That's where you'll store them. So this is how you can be able to do your file plan, for instance. Here is an example, continues further here. You'll have your EAB correspondence. That's a label of your, this is file 2. That's a label. Information on the file will be your registration, which is also still business management, but it relates to compliance. Where is it stored? Under compliance. You have your file 3, which is quality management system. It's individual policies. It's also still relate to the business management, which is quality management system. So you can have all these different files, you label them accordingly, and you'll be able to know what type of information to put in this particular file. From the above, it becomes clear that the electronic and the hard copy administration system may not necessarily be the exact duplicate of one another, but will show up to 80% similarity. So you have your electronic folder this side on the right, and then you have got your normal physical folder on this side. So all these they could literally be the same across the board, or be almost similar, depending on how you decide ultimately as the office. Here is the activity. We won't go into this activity, but basically it's about identify possible files that you would need for client management in the organization. So the example here, it's about business management. So here we are looking at client management. What relates to clients information? What file will you need? How will you label it? What kind of a file in the information in that file will you have? Electronic folder, what will it look like? Where is it stored electronically? So we do exactly as we've shown here, but the particular focus is client management. So any document relating to your client, so you'll have different files relating to your client, from the time when you mandates and all those things. It has to be very clear. If it's about a particular property or the FICA document of a client, where do you place them? So this is what the activity is about. It's a filing plan. Okay, let's move on. Type of administration documents. We've already given this type of the business management, client management, and agent management. This is how an estate agency is actually structured. Each of the divisions will have a number of standard documents that supports the category, and those documents will be used to create operational records for the company. It is therefore critical that the required standard documents be identified first. Below is the list of possible documents that could be relevant to each division. Okay, let's look at that. Business management. These documents manage the business and the focus on the internal operations of the organization that is necessary for legislative compliance and sound business practice. It would therefore contain documents such as company documents, like we have seen in the example, your CK, your VAT registration, your tax clearance, all those relating to the administration of the company, your COIDA, company profile documents. Of course, it will be your company profile, your organogram, your vision, mission, your business plan, etc. Marketing and advertising information, standard price list, your proposals, your menu of services. Selling information would contain advertisements, sales team, promotion, stationery, business cards, sales media, etc. Financial information will be your cash flow, your profit and loss statements, your bank statements, your invoices, etc. Your business schedule is client schedules, agent area allocation. So these are the different, if your company legal documents, it's a particular, it's specific, all relating to the legal compliance of that company. Your company profile documents, all in one folder. Marketing and advertising information, it's all those. Selling information, it's all those. Financial information, it's all those. But they all relate to the business, to how the business is run. They are all focused on the internal operation of the organization. The next one, client management. These documents manage the client, and the focuses on the product and services that is offered. It would therefore contain documents such as client information, which is your buyer's profile template, seller's profile template, mandate template, open house template, property valuation template, geographic canvas template. Initially, we spoke about your masters. These templates are critical that they are stored properly, and that any changes on the template should be approved accordingly, so that you don't find that every agent has a different template and then it's no longer aligned to sometimes just to take out one clause could change everything, and the meaning of the whole document or the whole mandate gets to change. So you want to be consistent. You want to make sure that your masters are kept well, especially when it comes to mandates. We've seen situations where sometimes it's even a logo. It's overstretched and all those things. So preferably, mandates would have to be kept in a particular format so that not everybody can be able to just edit whenever they want. Like in PDF, it helps that people cannot just edit as they want. Financial information would include mortgage application template, National Credit Act obligation checklist, your bond calculation template, your loan application template, repayment calculation template, financial institution qualifying criteria, all those that relates. Remember, it all relates to the client. Legal information will be attorney information and template, deeds office information and documentation, special clause template, municipality information application template. All those still relates to the client. It's all about client management. Agent management. So these are the agents. These documents manage the estate agent, whether all the estate agents from interns all the way to the qualified estate agent, all the way to the principal, and focuses on effective human resource management of individuals and teams. It would therefore contain documents such as human resource information, staff recruitment documents and contracts, code of conduct, etc. Professional development plan, very critical. Allocation of sales team, important. Personal information, presentation folder, template. All this relates to your agent management, because these are typically your staff. Other than the estate agents, you probably have your administrative person and all that, or your cleaners and all that. Those are outside the profession, but they are supporting, but the core staff is your agents when it comes to an estate agency. Access versus security. Learner's notes. No estate agent shall, without just cause, divulge to any third party any confidential information obtained by him concerning the business affairs, trade secrets, or technical methods or processes of a client or any party to a transaction in respect to which he acted as an estate agent. That's Code of Ethics, clause number 10. So, as we said, we are managed by the Code of Ethics as estate agents. So that's important to be able to make sure that your Code of Ethics is adhered to at all times. Every estate agent who is a sole proprietor of an estate agency business, or a partner in a partnership, or a director of a company, of a member of a close corporation, contemplated in paragraph B of the definition of an estate agent, is in section 1 of the Act, carrying on business of an estate agent shall be held responsible for any contravention of or failure to comply with this code of conduct by any other partner, director, or member of by any estate agent in the service of such sole proprietorship, partnership, company, or close corporation, unless he has a prior or such contravention or failure to comply, taken all responsible steps to prevent the same, and could not in any circumstances have prevented such a contravention or failure to comply. So basically it's talking about the fact that we need to be able to comply to the code of conduct as an estate agent. So it's important. It's a legal issue more than anything. It's not just we do however we like. There are certain, especially the code of conduct, you need to be able to make sure that you know what relates to you and you can be compliant at all times as an estate agent. In terms of this clause, the principles of an estate agency business assumes responsibility for any contravention or the failure to comply with the code of conduct by their fellow principals and employees, estate agents, and imposes an obligation upon such principals to take all responsible steps to ensure compliance with the code by such a person. So the onus lies with the principal to make sure that everybody aligned to their estate agency or working under their estate agency or under their principalship is compliant with the code of conduct at all times. So it means or what we call the PFMA calls it your accounting officer. So a principal in an estate agency is the accounting officer. So everything rises and falls on their head. So it's important that he ensures that all the employees, ultimately partners or whoever is aligned to that agency, is compliant with the code of conduct. Learner's notes, it is therefore important to have access control to documents to protect the integrity of your organization. Not all people in the office can have equal access to all records, and it is important to structure access in accordance with the popular management of information principles. So you have your information management will have three things to consider: access, confidentiality, and security. So who can have access? What are the confidentiality levels that you can't just divulge people's information? That's confidentiality. Security, how do we make sure that there is proper security, or whatever documents that are there are secured accordingly? Part of it is to restrict the access. Certain documents can be read by certain people and others may not be able to. Part of it could just be security measures like your passwords and all that, and encryption and all those kind of things. But the level of access matters the most. I worked at Office of the Premier in my previous life, so we had to do security clearance because, and in IT, you have access to all kinds of documents, including those of the Premier and all that. So we do security clients by clearance by the National Intelligence Agency. So it's important. So different departments would have to do that. So the idea is so that anyone who accesses the documents, we know about them and how they behave. So they go and interview people who are close to you, understand that you will not have access to information and use it against your principals. Thank you. Information is accessed or released on a basis of need to know. It is and it is important to determine in the organization what a person's right and duty to information is. It is helpful to color code the access status and determine a person's color-coded security status record. Your status could be must know, your green. Reason, it's essential information to perform his duty. Full access is allowed. Nice to know, so if it's just nice to know, not directly related to his job function, but access to do but access to to do not compromise. Okay, access that will not compromise confidentiality or security. Need to know, it will be blue. Need access to portions of the information, not all of it. Some protection of security and confidentiality is required. Need not know, if you don't need to know, it has nothing to do with you, it will be red. Job function requires no access to this information and adds no value to that person's job function. Anything so far that anyone can add, or any question if there's any? Ladies and gentlemen, are we still together?
We're still okay, Lufuno. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaku. Maxwell, any question, anything to add?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, good. Let's continue. So we have an activity here. It's about an access diagram. So you will go through this. I will not go through this because it's something that you can be able to do privately. Data theft by employees it's a growing concern. Employees usually have unrestricted access to sensitive data, including confidential documents, customer database, business contacts, and sales leads. Below are important tips on the prevention of confidential data being compromised. Maybe let's talk about this before we go to the tips. How do you ensure that there are different levels of access? Are there any in your estate agency? We've spoke about real, we spoke about Yaku's one. Maybe let's get another one of a different agency. Vusi. Vusi Makwela. Are you there? How do you make sure that there is access control for the documents? Who has access to which type of documents? Is there such a thing in your organization, or it's open for all? Please share. Richard?
Good day.
Good day.
Yes, I'm from Remax, and
Yes.
Yak already explained how things are working, and so that's exactly what we are doing in our organization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So when you need a document, Richard, oh yes.
Lufuno, sorry.
Yes, yes, Yaku.
Yeah, what I can add is with the new Poppy Act and so on as well. We need to be way more careful how we keep the documents. So with the documents, our files and so on, those are all locked up in file cabinets, and the keys are kept by the administrative lady. And then with our electronic files, those are all password protected. So you do have a security system in place so that anyone cannot just walk in and get information that are not supposed to lie around, and that's not for everyone's eyes. So yeah, we do keep the paper documents we keep in cabinets locked away.
Okay, awesome, great. I think actually, thank you, Yaku, for raising the Poppy Act. It's important, and I think some of the. Have you done training in any of your estate agents? Someone has been sent for Poppy Act training yet?
Yes, we actually contracted a company based in Pretoria, and those guys, they actually trained all the agents, the whole of our Bella Bella office, Modimolle office. They actually started at Tu's branch up in Lephalale. And they gave us all the training, and they assisted us with the registration and all the documents and all of that. But every agent, it was compulsory that every agent attend that training. So all of them has done it, yes.
Thank you. That's very critical, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe, Mr. Stolle, it would be good to probably have some kind of a high level, a day where we do high level focused on the Poppy Act. I like sharing among ourselves, working as a team, so we can have maybe someone like Yaku, for instance, share his own experiences on what he understands about the Poppy Act, and have somebody who's from the legal fraternity come and share. Maxwell? Oh,
Hello?
Yes.
No. I was having an issue with the network.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So thank you for that, Yakub, because that's a critical one, that the Poppy Act, it's we need to all get to be able to be well acquainted, especially estate agents. We deal with people's information. It's actually more severe to us, in many fronts, not just as even when it comes to property management, information, where people's information is collected, consent, it's critical. So, and it has to be written. People have to consent to certain things. We don't just send adverts afterwards to people when they have not consented to that. So there are a lot of limitations that, if we don't manage it right, we find ourselves contravening the act itself. Thank you. Let's go back to the different tips that are raised here. Prevention. I apologize. Shred all proprietary information with a crosscut shredder. Desk side shredder ideal for business professionals that regularly handle sensitive information, including legal, accounting, and human resource or finance personnel. Develop office guidelines. So on this one, there is a guideline on how long you can keep the files. Remember, they go also to a store. I forgot the name of the company that normally you would, if you are archiving documents, they go from your office, they go to them, they keep them for you. The act is very specific on how long we can be able to keep that information. So even when it comes to this, the shredding and all that, it's not all information that needs, administrators needs to be taught what can be shredded and what should not be shredded, whatever the case may be. Develop office guidelines for all employees that outlines the proper procedure of protecting sensitive information. Keep all sensitive information and files locked away. Restrict access to those who need it, and closely watch your files. Work with your company's IT department to limit the access employees have to electronic files. All files should be password protected and encrypted. Ensure all company computers have the most up-to-date antivirus, anti-spyware, firewall software, and also check to make sure that wireless networks are protected. This is important with proper security settings. What people don't realize is that this is one of the, right now we are in this very sensitive times, that people's information gets stolen, gets used, and people, I don't know how many times you get people's WhatsApp being hacked. It's actually getting more common. So even in an organization, I mean, we've seen of Liberty Life, they got hacked, their information, and this is client's information. It's a financial services company, very sensitive information, and they were threatening to publish all the client's information, and they wanted to be paid. I think ultimately they probably paid the money. So how we manage our documents, even electronically, it's important. If it's saved, you'd find that a virus can come and wipe out everything. Or the next thing, the laptop that has everything, it just dies. What do? Because you don't have a backup or all those things. So it's important. Saving in documents in the clouds, for instance, it's one of the tips that you will need to be able to use to make sure that wherever you are, there's a place where you can be able to find those documents. They are not on a local drive or local computer, for instance. Conduct thorough background checks on potential employees. It is not uncommon for confidential information to be stolen from within. Don't put outgoing mail in an unsecured mailbox at work. Use post office mailboxes for mailing these sensitive items. Avoid leaving documents in communal copiers, shared printing spaces, conference rooms, or other open areas for extended period of time. One of the things when it comes to copiers in administration is that use copiers that have password for every employee. So when somebody prints, it does not come out of the printer. They only use until they put a password, and then they can take the documents. Because what normally happens, and that's one of the biggest security breaches when it comes to document management, that people just print and then they don't go and collect, or they print the documents, somebody is printing at the same time, and they come, they collect even other people's information that doesn't relate to them. You come, you think you didn't print, you go and print again, whereas somebody took all the documents bundled with theirs. So if you are using an office printer, those big printers, ask them to have every employee to have their own password. It's easier to be able to manage instead of people just printing and they get collected. At the end of each workday, all employees should log off their computers and lock their workstations or office doors. All confidential documents should be filed away rather than left at one's desk. So part of this, it's also to it's managing also the workstations. Are the agents using their own laptops? What documents do they keep in their laptops, and what are they not allowed to keep? Those are some of the things that you need to be able to determine in your office. If somebody is working as an administrator, should they have a laptop, or should they just have a desktop that stays in the office? When they go home, you know that they are not supposed to be carrying anything with them except their own bag and their personal things. So these are some of the measures that you can be able to introduce. These days, it is common for real estate businesses to have website. If you are selling goods and services or collecting personal information and financial data over the internet, it is advisable to secure your website against hackers. The simplest method and cost-effective method for doing this is using SSL, or security socket layer. This means that the data traffic between client machine and server is encrypted during communication over the internet. This is important. Part of it is to make sure that your website has, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys know, when you access a particular website, you need to be able to see it has to be HTTPS. That means secure. So if it's just HTTP, it doesn't have that X, it's not a secure website. So you need to check some of these things. Your own company's website, make sure that it's got a security certificate that is registered. You pay for that. Mark Shacklesworth's company is one of those responsible for these certificates. So you pay for that certificate. So make sure that you check that it will say, some website, when you Google it, you will see just before the address, it will say unsecured or secured. Then you know that it's a secured website. So check some of those things. Office stationery. Stock, it's an expensive liability and only becomes an asset once sold and safely in the hands of the customer. On the other hand, any business also has equipment and resources that will never be sold. but forms an essential part of the required tools for estate agents to use to do their jobs effectively. These items have a depreciation value. It depreciates or loses sales value all the time, but the replacement value keeps rising. In the real estate environment, stock could refer to any of the following: stationary stock, printed marketing and advertising material, presentation folder, and information brochures. You see, these things, we can take them for granted. One of the reasons why estate agencies have a particular way of saying this, they limit even when it comes to advertising material, you go to a certain level, you start paying. They will say, we give you this basic number. Once you finish, you start paying for this number for this type of advertising material, for instance. It's also part of managing those things. Same as stationary stock. One of the biggest challenges in companies, and you will see the expenses just keep rising. Pens keep getting lost, stationary. People just keep taking things from the stationary office. They keep requesting every time. Every day somebody has no pen, they keep requesting. So those are things that needs to be managed very well. You need somebody thorough to be able to manage. And if the person has reached their threshold, you can be able to show them that beyond this, you need to be able to pay. Otherwise, there is abuse. Stationary stock control. Even though stationary items do not cost a lot per item, for example, a ream of A4 paper costs approximately 40 Rand. Today, it's how much an A4 ream would be costing, about how much? It's about 60 Rand, right? So, but if you add that up, you'll find that it ends up to become a lot of money. Learner's notes: if you buy too much overstocking, this can mean that you have spent too much money, and if the stationery is not used, it's like money just sitting there. If you buy too little understocking, you may not have enough to do the urgent and important work that could cause delays. So it's important to be able to manage your stationery very well. Overstocking, it's bad. Understocking, it's bad. You manage it accordingly. How do you control the stock in real estate business? Trustworthy storekeeper. Someone must take charge of the store stationery, and that person should hold the key of the cabinet or room where the stationery is kept. This person should be a trustworthy person. Only one person to buy stationery. This is important. In large businesses, different departments should not be allowed to buy stationery. They should tell the person in charge, who will then be able to buy enough for everyone. Firstly, this is a good control. Secondly, it saves time because one person does the job for the entire company. Fixed time to draw stores. This is important because if people can just ask for stationery anytime, you will never be able to have control. It is not efficient or effective for people to get stationery whenever they want. Imagine how busy the storekeeper will be. So there has to be a particular time when they can be able to request. And it allows people to be able to say, if it's a week, you can be able to tell that they've had enough time, or a month, to use up whatever they had requested. Now they can refill or ask for more. But if they can come anytime, they don't have a pen, believe me, you'll always have no pens in the store because everybody will keep coming. I'm one of those who lose, thank God for computers, but pens, I lose pens like anybody. Yeah, yeah, it's bad. Requisition forms for any stationery taken from the store. The requisition form should be properly written out and signed by the relevant authority. Update stock card. Stock card for each stationery item must be updated at all times. This means that after stock are delivered, or after stock are issued to the company, the records must be accurate and up to date. So you see, all these things, ladies and gentlemen, they look They are monotonous, they are boring, but that's how you run a company effectively or efficiently. If you don't do proper administration, you'll find that however money the company is making, you will not see it. It will always run into losses because it's not being managed properly, and critically so when it comes to administration. Mentors discussion with the stationary control. I think for the sake of time, I would request that we jump this. This is the activity. You are required to do some basic research at the workshop, at the workplace. Do the following: list the stationary items that the estate agents use for their daily activities. What would happen if the office understocks some of these items? What security measures are in place at your workplace to control the stationery? So you can share some of those experiences in your own, from your own company as required. The real estate office cannot function if there is not enough stationery. We've dealt about that. Overstocking, the maximum stock level is the number which the stock should not exceed. For example, if the office needs only a maximum of 100 envelopes, then you should not have more than 100 envelopes. Overstocking is when you have more than maximum. If you your maximum stock level for envelopes is 100 and you have 150, you have overstocked. This is not good because you're wasting money buying an extra envelopes and wasting space keeping the extra envelopes. So that's always important. In accounting, they call it inventory. You don't want to keep a lot of inventory. It has to be able to go out. And you can also have less, because when people need, you'll always find that you don't have what they need. Reorder stock levels. It takes time for stationery suppliers to get to your office after you order them from stationery suppliers. Of course, some common items can be bought off the shelf by the but cannot bring 100 rams of paper from the shop to the office. Normally, you get bulky purchase delivered to your office, and this takes time. So it means you need to be able to manage the time of when can you order and how long does it take. Of course, right now where we are, things are a little bit quicker to be able to buy. But in times like this, like now with the riots and all those things, if you are running an office and you need to be able to consider how long it would take to be able to take to get a particular stock, because things are running out where in the different shops, some of the factories have been burned down and all those things. So it's really affecting the businesses. So if you don't plan accordingly, you'll find that you are running out of stock very quickly and you can't recover after a while. Documentation, the stationery requisition form must be filled up properly before stationery is given to the department. This is another activity 48. Stationery stock card. Ladies and gentlemen, anything around this before we finish? We're about to finish just now. Anything you want to add? Any comment on this? I've been speaking on my own, just want to make sure that we are all on the same page. Okay, so if we are still together, let's just move, and we're about to finish. Just bear with me. Okay, stationary stock card. A stationary stock card is used to record the movement of each particular item of stationery. The stationary stock card is important because it can help make sure that the company does not over or understock stationery just by looking at the balance in the stock card. It can also help if a person has used too much stationery. That's critical. The receipt column will confirm that the delivery of stationery items was carried out. For example, if the stationery supplier says that he has delivered 20 reams of paper last Thursday, you can confirm it by looking at the stock card. After a physical stock check, you can tell if anyone has stolen anything, if you have less than what is written in the balance column of the stock. So normally when you are still a small company, people don't consider some of these things, but they are critical in making sure that you manage your things properly. This is an example of a stationary stock card. You can be able to see that it records the date, the receipt, invoice, if there's any maximum stock of the boxes that are required. You can be able to show some of those properly. Sorry. Okay, control measures for individuals. In order to successfully manage an office, regardless of your company's product or even the customer base, you should adhere to some basic guidelines. Here are important areas that you should keep in mind. Employment and human resource. It is critical to have an employment policy in place. A policy manual gives a blueprint for the way a company approaches employees. It spells out the rules in a way that you can prevent later problems. Imagine, one of the things we spoke about is to vet your employees. How important is it to make sure that your employees are well vetted? Imagine, this includes your registered estate agents and your interns, because especially when it comes to the internship, people take it for granted and then they don't follow proper protocol. That person is going to grow and become a critical member of that company if you didn't conduct proper due diligence from the beginning. You'd find that you have just inherited a problem into the business. Imagine working for an organization that came to a standstill each time an employment issue arose. In addition, you'll want to include a training and development program under this area. So that's important. If it's an intern, what is your growth, your training and development plan? What is your growth level? How are they going to be able to support you in that organization? So if you are part of any organization, ask those questions. Who's my principal? Who's going to hold hand to help me whenever I need something? Is there somebody assigned to be able to assist me in one, two, three things? What's the plan? You need to be able to sit with whoever is your principal and say what's going to happen in the next coming 2 years, for instance. How do they help you and make sure that you achieve the goals that you have towards your particular? If your goal is to become a registered principal one day, your growth trajectory and your support may not be the same as somebody who just want to be a registered agent, estate agent. You may need to learn a whole lot more, especially when it comes to management, than somebody who just wants to focus on selling houses. Even if your training and development program is modest, you still need to consider building this into your policy. So part of this is important, and I think we will touch on that when we do personal development, because part of people take for granted, especially intern estate agent, take for granted your personal development. When you come to places like your estate agency, you still work like you are a business on your own, and you normally get treated as such, to be able to know what is required to be able to drive the business yourself. So if you don't have the discipline, you don't have the goals, you have no idea what you're doing, you are just depending on somebody telling you, there, go there, there's a client there. If you can learn how to prepare your client, for instance, the areas, and understand the area that you're operating in, what kind of clients you're targeting and all those, you'd find that when there's nobody to help you, you are helpless. You don't know how to run the business yourself. So personal development is critical. We'll touch on that. Today we are finishing with this part of administration. Thank you. Your performance management is another one. Keeping track of agents' projects and activities is critical to the successful completion of important tasks and represent an essential piece of documentation. Knowing when things have to be completed and by whom gives everyone a clear idea of what's ahead. Deadlines are less likely to be missed, and people are more likely to know their roles. Plus, each project, through careful documentation, can become a useful case study for the future assignment. Office communication for many small business. So performance management, it's critical. Just to emphasize, I mean, create a model that for an estate agency, how do you reward performance? Somebody who has done well. You know, in companies like your KFC and all that, you'll see they have employee of the month, they have the best every week, they have someone that those are part of a way of incentivizing, but also encouraging the employees and creating some level of competition for people to be able to know that they have to be able to perform. There are targets to be met. You can't just be, you are an agent, you've never sold anything, and the year it's going by, there's nothing, that you have no mandates whatsoever. One of the things that Rina says is that as you work with agents, you need to be able to understand them. Part of it is to know where their strength is. Some agents are good at selling. Some agents are good at signing mandates. They may not be able maybe to close clients, like to sell, but they can find properties. They are good at that. And then they can share the profits when you have others who sell. Some agents are good at maybe more on the rental side than even the sales of the property. Some agents are good with development property, for instance, like huge land, high density developments, things like that. They can sell those better than single houses. Or some is their target. They prefer to do that. If you do a bigger project, you may not have to do many in a year. But for somebody who's doing houses, 500,000 rent houses, they may have to do a number of them to be able to create a good profit at the end of the day, or commission. Remember, it's shared commission. So the agency has an interest in making sure that you sell. Otherwise, there's no reason to be part of that agency if they are not going to benefit. It runs on the commissions that gets created, on the shared commission. It runs on the rentals that gets collected. So it's important. The people who drive the business are the agents at the end of the day. Your office communication. For many small businesses, the responsibility for communication falls upon the office manager or the principal. Knowing how and when to communicate key information, it's vital to successful office management. Email blast, post instruction at a copier, weekly staff meetings are just a few types of communication that occur within a busy office. Having a communication plan that everyone can adhere to will increase an office productivity and ensure that information is disseminated clearly and quickly. So this is also another important critical part. Right now, we are in lockdown. I've actually come to the realization that we take for granted the ability to work together. When we go to the office, all of us, it's easier to be able to communicate certain things. But when everybody's working from home, it's very difficult. So you need to be able to find a creative way to make sure that people communicate. There is a way to get people together. As an estate agency, it's also critical. I know at Pomet, the meetings have been happening online for the longest time. And how do you make sure somebody feels at home online? They feel they're part of a team. Those are some of the things that are part of communication, that it's not just when people are apart, some information are difficult to go across. You need to find a way to make sure that if you are a principal, you can communicate and everybody is aware of what is happening at any given time, and there are no surprises, and you find that somebody, you've forgotten about someone because they've been working from home. I mean, agents actually also don't sit in the office often. They come there for administrative work, but their actual office is out there, where they are supposed to be selling or supposed to be canvassing to be able to get the properties or mandates. So if somebody is staying too much in the office, maybe not a good idea at all, because you know that they are not doing the work. Thank you. One other critical component is conflict resolution. Conflicts are inevitable. Knowing how to handle them properly, however, will make life, whichever way it will make life easier. It's important that we know how to manage conflict. Agency and its the agency and its people. Knowing how to run an office must include understanding the company and its people, knowing the product line and how it feels, it fulfills the needs, is just as important as ordering more toner for the printer. If you don't understand your company's mission, you won't know how best to support its various functions. So now, having said this, I just want to also say the choice of your estate agency. I don't know, as we come to a close, how do you choose which estate agency to be a part of? I would like to maybe get a few before we just continue. Portfolio activity, office administration, refer to the portfolio activity guide for a theory and practical activity that must be completed for summative assessment purposes. Conclusion, we've got your self-assessment, your portfolio activities, refer to that accordingly. I think Rina has shared some of this. So let's complete our activities. We are coming very close to our finish line. So let's make sure that we move when it comes to activities. And I think we've been giving an opportunity for people to work on their activities. And ladies and gentlemen, I think for tonight, that's where I will end. Anything to add? If you have something, I think what I wanted to pose was just to say, sorry, Wostola, I'll give you an opportunity. Just to say, how do you choose which estate agency to go to or to be a part of? What criteria do you use? I'll ask a few people to raise if there's anything. Mr. Stolle.
Nda, am I here?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Stolle.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Mr. Ramabulana. Awesome people, I'm proposing that tomorrow at the end of the class, we have just a 15-minute session to look at the learner management system. I think we have received 1 or 2 requests of people saying they don't see what some other people see on the LMS. So I think it would be best if I can show how the LMS should look like, and each and every one where they are, they log in and they see if they see what's on my LMS, so that at least we will know which issues to address. I think it will be easier like that when we deal with it on a team level versus the individual level. So maybe before, okay, Maxwell, I see a hand. Maxwell?
Yeah, I can be in Mr. Ramabulana. Hey, I'm a bit confused now, man. Because I'm not really sure if I was supposed to be doing this course. Because I remember I'm not under any estate agent. I'm still working for a private company, whereas since the beginning, then Rena, she was saying she'll organize something till today. You send WhatsApp, no response, or like I don't know, like if I should continue with the activities or with the classes. I'm in the right platform, so I don't know.
All right, Maxwell, with regards to that, maybe Boramablan, if I can come in before that. Yes, you are in the right platform. Yes, you should continue with the activities. Ne? Then just a question from my end. I think about a month, if not 2 months ago, we had requested that first people to go to private and look for these companies, and I have drafted letters for a number of students on this very platform. They use those letters to say that we are registered with this institution on our way to get our NQF qualification. Please assist us with placement for internship. Then I think 1 or 2 managed to get those placements, but I am speaking with other students here who have not managed to get placements. Have you went outside to look for those opportunities?
Yeah, there's someone that I know, but she was saying to me, for me to do the to be registered and do the intern under a real estate agency, then I need to be like working as an estate agent. So that's what I'm saying. I'm a bit confused now. And then you ask Reina, then you're getting nothing from Reina. So I don't know.
So in your capacity, Reina, because in intern estate agents, the requirement is for them to complete a logbook, which means they must set up time to be able to do the canvassing and the marketing and to show people properties. So you are saying you do not have capacity to do that?
Yes. As I'm saying, I'm working for a private company, not under property. So and I was asking if I'm in the right platform or not. Because at the beginning, Reina, she was saying she will assist. Then she said, send CV, you send CVs, send WhatsApp, you send WhatsApp, then you get nothing out of that anyway. It's saying
right,
a bit
apologies for that.
I don't know
think
if I should move forward or
let me give you a call immediately after the class, because I think you and I must have another conversation, because you are not necessarily looking to become a real estate agent, but within this course there are possibilities of you going into property development and everything like that. Hence the practical classes and the classes with your net bank and everything like that, to say that even those who are not necessarily interested in buying and selling individual houses, they can still benefit from these conversations if they want to become property developers or evaluators or auctioneers and the likes.
okay, then I'll wait for your call.
All right, thank you. Lube, I see a hand.
Mr. Sitole, I'm also in the same boat. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I'm also here in the same boat as Maxwell. So basically, what I mentioned it even to Rina, and not to even to Rina, even to on the group. Like when was it last week? I did mention it's check accounting. I did mention that I did go to the companies. And then the companies, they told me, since I'm working full time, I cannot be placed. Yes, they cannot give me a placement. Since I went to about 4 companies, all of them are saying the same thing. They're saying that I cannot do the agent while I'm doing a full-time job. So that is the challenge that I am. But I told myself I am going to continue with the training so long. But now, like Maxwell mentioned, Reina did mention that we must call, we can send her WhatsApp or call her. Maybe she's still busy. I don't know how is she going to assist us in this regard.
All right. Yeah,
Mr. Stolle, maybe if I can come in to assist there. So we do have POMET. I mean, though we've opened for people to look for their own different estate agencies. I mean, one of our sister companies, POMET, and I know that POMET Group, and I know that they do have a platform for people who are part-time estate agents. They do even logbook and all those things, the full process. I mean, especially because it's tailored for those who are also doing development and all those. From POMET, you are able to learn. I mean, during the weekends, you can be able to go do the viewings whenever they are required. All those things, people do most of those things over the weekend, not necessarily during the week. So part-time agents at POMET are there. They can be able to assist. So maybe was told in that call, it will be, I would say, connect them with Portia directly. She's the director of POMET, the CEO actually of POMET Group. She should be able to get them assisted quickly. I know Rina has a lot of things that she's juggling around. So some of these things ends up falling through the cracks. But I think if you can tackle that, Mr. Stolle, it would be, I think, appreciated. We can assist them.
All right, Lube, just for my benefit, just please send me a private WhatsApp, because it's not you alone. I'm also having that conversation with other students as well, so that I go with the consolidated list to POMET. Ne?
Okay, I'll do that.
Melody, I note your hand. Melody, please go ahead.
No, I was saying, remember, Kabelo, that I'm also in the same situation as them.
Yes. Hence, I'm asking other students to forward me that, so that I go to POMET with one list.
All right, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe to add on that, it would be good on the list, was told, for them to show which area are they in and where do they want to operate from, so that we can see where we have coverage and who do we have in certain areas. And I think that will help.
All right.
Sure.
All right. So going back to the initial ask, LMS walkthrough tomorrow at the end of the class. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, that's fine with me.
That'll be a good idea. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So please do invite the other colleagues that did not manage today, so that at least we all make sure that we are aligned and we are on the same page. All right, that's all from my side, Barama Bulana. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for the day, unless if there's anything else, we can close it here.